guess what? It's me again. All these years, and people keep saying I need to make videos, and now that you've unleashed me, who knows? They're all going to retract those statements. I can't stop myself now. The reason that I came back on is because I have these really overripe bananas. Check that out. Yeah. I happen to have 8 of them, which means I could make 2 loaves of banana bread. And I need to do it. So I don't want them to get any further along than they are. Well, this, black bananas makes banana bread possible. So that's why I need to do it right now. So we're going to make banana bread. First things first, you need really ripe bananas. Don't try to make banana bread with unripe bananas. And hey, Kirk, how are you? I'm cooking. However, I am not drinking, unless you count my normally in my left hand Yeti of water. That's what I drink. That's what I drink all the time. So, banana bread is happening in my kitchen right now. Okay, so 8 bananas to make 2 loaves. 4 bananas per loaf. And 4 eggs. The first thing we're supposed to do is take 1 cup of sour cream, the 8 bananas, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and combine those in a bowl and set them aside before we go on to the next step. So 8 bananas, 1 cup of sour cream, and this cool little plunger thing. Did you see how I did that? The best tool ever. If you have to measure out sour cream, peanut butter, honey, molasses, it slides backwards. You put your ingredients, you put it to the measuring mark that you want it at. Put your ingredients in there, and you don't have to try to dig it back out again. You just plunge it right back into the bowl. Love that. That's a Pampered Chef thing. Love them. Okay, 2 teaspoons of vanilla in this bowl, and then we're just gonna stir it up. I never actually measure vanilla because you can always use more vanilla. So just be generous. And vanilla is the actually only flavoring in the banana bread that I make. I don't put anything like cinnamon or nutmeg or cloves. The bananas themselves in this super ripe state give all the flavor this banana bread needs. Plus, I really do love walnuts in banana bread. And I just want to recommend always toasting your walnuts. I have them back here on the cabinet. I have already toasted them and let them cool. I just put a sheet of parchment paper on a pan while my oven is preheating for the banana bread. I throw my pan of walnuts into the oven for about 7 minutes. Let them get nice and toasty. You'll smell the change in the air. You'll smell when they are toasted. They have an amazing scent. And if you've ever done a taste test before, toasted walnuts, toasted pecans, toasted whatever are way better than not toasted. Just try it out. Okay, so I'm going to set this sour cream, banana bread, vanilla aside. I have, well, let's see how much I have here. 3.5 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt in this bowl. I'm going to set that aside over here. And I have 2 sticks of softened butter that are at room temperature. And this is what I'm going to throw into the mixer first. So we want to get the butter blended in the mixer so it smooths out. Whip it for a little while so that it kind of turns a little pale yellow color. starts to get a little bit of air in it. And then once that has lightened up, we're going to add 2 cups of brown sugar. This recipe doesn't have white sugar, so you get a little bit more of a richer flavor with all brown sugar. Brown sugar has some molasses in it. So my butter has lightened up a little bit. I'm gonna throw in the brown sugar. And we're gonna let that kind of whip up and increase in volume. How many people out there eat bananas when they're super ripe like that? That dark, soft. I just can't do it. I like it when they're ripe and they have a little bit of spots on the peel, but once it gets past that point and it's too soft, can't do it. Okay, how many people eat their bananas totally green, like hard? I know my aunt was here last week and she said she can't eat bananas once they've passed the green stage. All right, butter and sugar has been whipped light and fluffy. Put some air in there, which helps your banana bread increase in volume. And I have right here 4 eggs that I have allowed to get to room temperature. You know, you want to make sure that your ingredients are at the same temperature. Hey, Jay. I'm making banana bread, and there is sort of like a little secret ingredient in here that I really love, and it is sour cream. It sort of acts like buttermilk with the live cultures. Adds some extra moisture, creates that sourdough. So I have sour cream, 8 bananas, and about 3 teaspoons of vanilla in this bowl, marinating. I have 2 sticks of butter and 2 cups of brown sugar here, and I'm one by one adding my 4 eggs to the batter. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to add the banana sour cream, vanilla mixture, get that combined. Then I'm going to slowly add our flour, you know, all the main things. Flour, baking soda, salt, baking powder. And then we're going to fold in a heaping scoop of toasted walnuts, which I toasted and cooled previously. All right, 8 bananas, cup of... Hey, Ashley, how are you? Amy told me the overripe bananas are better for banana bread and banana cake. 100%. That's when they are at their peak flavor for baking, is when they're super ripe. Okay. Into the mixer goes the magic ingredients. I have already buttered the 2 loaf pans. I'm a big fan of using butter on the pans, especially with banana bread, because it gives it a better flavor on the crust. I just don't really like the Pam spray. The flavor is nasty, so I'm like, why would I want to put that on my banana bread? So I use butter. Do I do delivery? I get that question a lot. I am sheltering in place right now. Sheltering in place. So at this moment, I'm going to want to abide by what the CDC is requesting of us. Good night, Pastor Jay. 1 loaf for you, huh, Ashley? Okay, so I toasted my walnuts. I mentioned that earlier. I just mixed the two wet combinations together, and I'm going to slowly put in the flour mixture in 2 parts and try not to spread that all over the kitchen. I buttered the 2 loaf pans and I have preheated the oven. Pastor Jay is going for a hot pocket. Hot pocket. Hot pocket. Anybody seen Jim Gaffigan doing his little take on the hot pocket? He's so funny. He is hilarious. We saw him when he was here in Estero. Such a great comedian. Okay, so we don't want to whip this too long. This is a quick bread, so that means that we want to get the flour combined to the wet ingredients as quickly as possible without overworking it. We don't want to overdevelop the gluten. And that actually is not possible in this particular case because I'm using gluten-free flour. There's a really great option that King Arthur flour makes now, and it's a gluten-free flour blend, and I get it at Publix, and it's perfect. I have made 2 different batches of carrot cake side by side on the same day. One was gluten-free with this particular product, and one was regular all-purpose flour. And we did taste tests, and there was 0 difference. You could not tell that it was gluten-free. So I highly recommend it, and I am making this gluten-free because my husband likes things to be gluten-free. So that's why I'm doing that. All right, walnuts, pre-toasted, full cup in the batter. And then what I'm going to do is after I put them into the 2 loaf pans, I put more walnuts on top. And then I do another little trick to help create a really beautiful, nice cap on the loaf. I put about a tablespoon of sugar in the raw sprinkled over the surface of the loaf, so it gives a little crystally glisten, but it also gives it a nice crust on the cap of the loaf. Kind of like that little bit of crunch. So I'm going to dump this batter into my pans and throw that into the oven at 350 degrees. And it very well could take 45 minutes to an hour. You just want to make sure that when you stick a pick in the center, it comes out clean. When you press your finger on the top of the loaf, that it springs back. You want to see it spring back. If it stays sunken in, that means you got some dough down underneath there, and you want to make sure that keeps cooking. So Rebecca didn't like that idea of the Hot Pocket. Kim Myers, hi. Welcome to my kitchen and my late night practices. Thank you so much for the tip on the King Arthur. Yeah, Jennifer Euler actually was the one who told me about that, and it's perfect. I love it. It's great. Yeah, making gluten-free is tough, but it is getting a lot easier. They're coming out with better products all the time. And like I said, this one is not even recognizable. People can't tell. So you don't even have to tell them if you don't want to. So I'm going to pour this into my 2 loaves here. And then I am going to, like I mentioned before, oh, you know what I wanted to tell you about? While I'm dumping this in here, I'm going to tell you about the app that I use for all of my recipes. It's called Paprika, and I think it's Paprika 3 now. I've had it since its original. I have it on my phone and I have it on my computer, and they sync. So it is kept in the cloud out there somewhere, you know, the elusive cloud. My phone will sync. I can edit a recipe on my phone. I can open up my computer and I can see that the changes are reflected in my copy on the computer. You have to pay separately for each one. And I think I had to pay $30 for the computer version, and I think it was only about $7 for my phone version. Best investment I have ever made. It has a browser within the app, so if I'm looking for a recipe, I can search for it right there, and it will pull it in, and then I can say download it, and it puts all of the recipe details, the ingredients, nutritional facts, if it's available, right in my app, plus pictures if it was included with the recipe that I found. It has the feature like I'm using right now where I can say, hey, I want to double this. All you do is you hit the 2 and it doubles it all automatically. Zero thinking involved. You don't have to try to remember. You know how many times I did that off a paper recipe? Oh, I got to double this. And I would start doubling the ingredients and then halfway through realize, oh, I forgot to double. Oh my gosh, did I double that? I can't remember. This app does it all. Okay, so next feature that is a total mind blower. I can make my menu for the month, for the week, for the day on the app. It has a calendar. I can say, okay, drag this recipe here, 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 and then the piece de resistance, I can say add to my grocery list. So whatever recipes that I'm making for that particular trip to the grocery store, the app will put it into my grocery list. So I can go one recipe at a time, or I can go a full week's menu at a time. However I choose to do it, it'll say, okay, dropping into the grocery list. And when I get to the grocery list is, arranged by aisle, department, and it has a checkbox. So I can check it as I go. And as soon as I check it, it disappears. And then as I'm filling my grocery cart, the grocery list is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So then by the time I get done, once I'm done, everything's gone off of my list and I know it's in my cart. Is that amazing or what? I can't even tell you. Okay, so next amazing feature about it, I'm gonna show up at someone's house with this banana bread tomorrow, right? Ashley, Becky, who knows? And they're gonna say, oh my gosh, that banana bread is amazing. Can I have the recipe? So I open up my phone and I'm like, sure, what's your email address? I pull up the recipe. It's in your inbox. Like super fast. I love it because then I don't have to try to remember. Oh yeah, so-and-so asked me for that recipe. I do it right there on the spot. Paprika. I should be like a spokesperson for them because I tell people about it all the time. I need to find out. Maybe this video thing will work out for me. Maybe they'll pay me. It's a thing, apparently. Okay, so all of my little walnuts, I'm sprinkling across the top of here. I like walnuts, and they're really good for you. So, banana walnut. Ashley, oh great, what's the app again? Oh, sorry. It's called Paprika 3, and you can get the desktop version, and you can get the mobile app version for your phone. Best thing in my life. Love it. Okay. Last final thing is what I mentioned before. I put sugar in the raw, sprinkled all over the top to give it a nice glisten and sparkle and crisp up that dome while it's baking in the oven. I wish you could smell it. It really smells good right now, but once it starts baking, then it really smells good. And I will, after I get off of here, get all the ingredients. There's my mommy. You're in the picture, Mom.
No, thank you.
She's like, I gotta go to bed. Okay, so I will put the recipe in here so you have it. And let me know how it goes. And if you guys get the Paprika app, if you have fellow friends who have the Paprika app, it's even easier to share recipes because you can just airdrop it and it comes in the Paprika app version. So when we get together, we can have a little recipe share party. All right, guys, I'm gonna throw these in the oven and hopefully you guys will have a great night. And who knows if I'll be on here tomorrow. It's possible. Oh yeah, I have to get on here tomorrow because I made the banana bread or the raisin bread muffin dough earlier, and we have to bake those in the morning. So I will let you see those. See you later.